Hi, in this video we are going to practice understanding factual information in a text. And the specific objective that we have for you is to write factual reading comprehension questions about a text, for you to write that kind of questions for a text. I know that you may have answered a lot of reading comprehension questions in your academic life, but the objective for this lesson is for you to write that kind of questions. How do we do that if we want to make sure that somebody else understands something that you have written, all right? Or that you want to make sure that they understand some text. How do we write those questions? So if you want to write factual comprehension questions about a text, the first thing that you need to take into account is that you have to ask yourself questions about the text. How do I make sure that somebody understands something that I've written? Or how do I understand something that somebody else has written? So you ask yourself questions about the text. What is this about? What is the author saying here? Is this accurate or not? Do I understand this sentence right here? Etc. All right? And if you want to answer a question that has been asked about the text, you have to carefully read each question about the text, whether somebody else has written that text and that question or you have written it. Carefully read it and make sure that it is clear to the audience that needs to write it, or if you have to answer it yourself. All right? The next tip is to refer back to the passage if necessary, both to ask questions about a text or to answer a factual question about a text. A factual question refers to that question that asks for facts, for information that is stated in a text. All right? Now, when you have written questions or somebody else has written questions, you may have to answer those questions yourself. So let me give you some ideas that you can use when you have to answer factual questions about a text, in English or in any language. Some questions may present contradicting information. It means that if you are writing questions, you may include some information that may be contradicting, that may confuse the reader, so you don't want to be confused by contradicting information in a text. Sometimes they use double negations that make it hard for you to answer a question, so you may have to be careful with that type of question. Now, you may have to answer the specific question asked about the text, not something that is not being asked. So you have to read the question very carefully so that you actually answer what they're asking you, not something else. All right? And finally, you have to examine negative factual information questions very carefully. What does that mean? Sometimes they ask you what is not included in the text, for example. And the following is a characteristic of dolphins, for example, that is not mentioned in the text. So you have to go back and examine the information in the text to see what is not included there. That is a type of question that you may have to answer, or that is something that you may have to ask. Why are we doing this specific activity? We're completing this activity of you writing questions because that helps you examine the text more carefully, and that is what we are going to do here. I'm not just giving you a reading comprehension test, because that is something that you do every day, but I would like to guide you to write some questions about some texts. I'm going to give you some phrases for you to write questions about, some sentences actually, and then I'm going to have you practice with a complete long text. All right? Here I have some short text for you. It says, cell culture simply means growing cells outside of a living organism. What you do sometimes in the laboratory, for example, when you grow cells, when you go to the lab and then you put some, let's say, some water that you have taken out of a flower pot, and you see that some cells are growing there. So that is a cell culture. You're cultivating cells, and that is what this text refers to. Cell culture simply means growing cells outside of a living organism. There are 3 areas in this study, which include plant cell culture, insect cell culture, and mammalian cell culture. So that is the information that we have. What kind of questions can we ask about that text? Let's see some examples. You may already have some, but let me give you. Because the text defines cell culture, one factual question could be, what is cell culture? Because that is something that is answered in the text. Cell culture simply means, etc. All right? The next one, where are cells grown? Why? Because in the text we have the word outside of a living organism. That gives us the idea that we can ask about that place, because outside is a preposition of place, and we can ask about where. That is the adverb that we use for asking about location. All right? And because we're saying that there are 3 areas in this study, we can ask the question, how many areas are there in cell culture? And then we include them. Of course, we can add more information questions or factual questions about this text, but that could be enough. Let's ask 3 questions about this one. All right? It says, cloning technology allows for the generation of genetically identical molecules, plants, cells, or animals. All right? So, because we have that text there, cloning technology allows for, we have an action verb there, we can ask this question. What does cloning technology do? All right? What does cloning technology do? All right? So I would like to actually ask you to pause my video and see if you can ask 2 more questions about this short sentence that we have here. Let's see. Pause the video, try to write 2 more. All right? Pause it, do it now, please. All right, now I'll see what you have. Let me give you this sample question that I have here for you. Because we have the word genetically identical molecules there, we have the question, how are cloned molecules, plants, cells, or animals identical? How are they identical? They are identical genetically. That is, what is that? An adverb of mode, and that is telling us how we do things. How are they similar or identical? Genetically. All right? And we can ask something that is not there. What is not an application of cloning? Because we're saying that cloning technology allows for generation of genetically identical molecules, plants, cells, or animals. That is the information that we have, and we can say what is not an application of cloning, so we cannot use it in, we can use it in molecules, plants, cells, or animals, but we cannot use it in another area or field not mentioned there. All right? I'm sure that you have different questions, but these are just examples that help us apply what we have told you about writing factual questions about a text. All right? Now, I am going to give you a text and you are going to write some questions about it. So this is the practice that I have for you, the practice activity. Read the following text and write 5 questions about it. Only 5. And you have enough information here for your questions. Then answer each question, because that will help you understand this even better. All right? Let me read this for you so that you can have an idea of the text, and then you write the questions. Located in the green valley of the Supe River in Peru, the sacred city of Caral Supe is considered the oldest city in America. and probably one of the oldest in the world, built over 5,000 years ago. That's a lot of information right there, and you can ask questions about any element there. It is very well preserved with an outstanding design and architecture. Its monuments and pyramids show clear evidence of ceremonial functions which suggest a culture with strong religious ideology. Right? It is believed that the Kharal civilization, some people say civilization, both pronunciations are correct, was a gentle culture since archaeologists could not find any evidence of warfare or weapons. Warfare is all the technology and all the practices involved in war. Warfare or weapons. Weapons are tools that are used for causing, let's say, harm to other creatures, right? They found a significant collection of musical instruments like flutes and cornets. We pronounce this word cornet or cornet, right? Cornet is even more similar, I think, is more common because I think it comes from French. Yeah, it does. And it may be spelled with double T, by the way, as well. In 2009, UNESCO declared the city a World Heritage Site. That is a lot of information, and all I am asking you to do is write 5 questions about the text. So please do so, pause my video, complete the activity, and I'll see you in a moment. All right, I hope that you did pause my video. Here I have some sample questions with their answers. All right, the first question is, where is the sacred city of Kharal Supe? And the answer is, it is located on the green valley of the Supe River in Peru. All right, another question. How old is the sacred city of Kharal Supe? Because information is there, it is over 5,000 years old. Next, why is the Kharal culture considered a gentle culture? Because it says since, remember? It is considered a gentle culture because, or since, archaeologists could not find any evidence of warfare or weapons, right? The next one, what kind of musical instruments did the archaeologists find? They found flutes and cornets, all right? In what year was it declared a World Heritage Site? UNESCO declared the city a World Heritage Site in 2009. Those are sample questions, and I'm sure that you have different ones, but these are just examples for you to use as a reference. All right? Now, I want you to listen to the native speakers, pronounce the questions and the answers, and then you practice pronouncing with them. Yes, remember, using shadowing, just pronounce with them using the same speed and pronunciation that they have. All right? Please do so now.
Where is the sacred city of Kharal Supe?
It is located on the green valley of the Supe River in Peru.
How old is the sacred city of Kharal Supe?
It is over 5,000 years old.
Why is the Kharal culture considered a gentle culture?
It is considered a gentle culture because archaeologists could not find any evidence of warfare or weapons.
What kind of musical instruments did the archaeologists find?
They found flutes and cornets.
In what year was it declared a World Heritage Site?
UNESCO declared the city a World Heritage Site in 2009.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for having done that. And remember that in this lesson, we have practiced how to write factual questions about a text. Thank you very much for having completed this activity, and I'll see you in the next one.